That's like Io the hero.
Yes.
I mean, that he helps every single person out on the team and just buffs up their natural abilities. So not too surprising, it's scary, especially on a team like Team Liquid. There we go with a Venge and a Ogre strat.
Yeah, they opened with that yesterday as well against Team Secret.
Yeah. Now, last time Team Secret did ban out Sniper to prevent them from having that. I wonder if Team Liquid's going to go that same route here today.
Yeah, like I was talking about before, where if you watch TnC closely, they have a few like very close like drafts where if they don't get this hero, they're gonna go for the replacement. If they don't get Earth Spirit or Slala, they'll put teams on like an Ogre. They need an early game hero that runs around and pressure. But if you compare Ogre to Earth Spirit, Slala, yes, you can do more in the first, say, 4, 5, 6 minutes, but the hero doesn't contribute a lot later, like unlike an Earth Spirit or Slada.
It's just a Bloodstone machine. I mean, Bloodlust machine,
yeah.
pretty much.
But he's extremely strong early game.
He's got this kind of steady presence, but in terms of like the big play, explosive potential, certainly not on the same tier.
Yeah, he's more like a mid shield and a Bloodlust after the early game. Doesn't do too much. But one thing he does provide for your team is he's going to be able to, buy all the wards and be the full support compared to an Earth Spirit or Slada where you want items.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Yesterday when we saw TnC play with this opening draft and the game that followed afterwards, the first like 20 or 15 minutes of that game, they were not doing well at all. They were like losing all
That
their
was the
lanes.
game where they had Slug, right?
And their slot got
Yeah,
destroyed.
their Slug got destroyed in the lane.
Well, I think that was a drafting problem. I mean, as
And Slug as well, because Slug doesn't do...
exactly.
He's not strong in the lane.
Right, and you need somebody when you have that kind of aggressive roaming lane that isn't that good at roaming,
But
you
the
need
Ogre
somebody
did
better.
make the mid laner fat. The Cuckoo was really farmed that game because
Sure.
the Ogre was running around.
Good old Bloodlust.
Yeah.
Helps any lane. Interested to see here. They haven't really given away too much on Team Liquid yet. Basically saying we want all of our heroes to good with Io. We want a little bit of vision, prevent any of those good ganks from Beastmaster. But nothing else.
They basically have a lot of control over the map and over where it is safe to
global
farm.
presence.
Yeah.
And the reason I think why IO works really well for Liquid because they play around their tri-cores really well. So when they have a support that can be anywhere and help the lanes out, it allows their cores to function very well.
Yeah, that IO can basically show up and win your lane for you
Yeah.
and turn an otherwise manageable lane into a terrifying one.
He's something like an Ogre for the first few minutes, but he's not as strong. But the main difference is after the laning phase, he has a lot to offer for his team. The save, the map presence, and obviously he has something like a Bloodlust as well, the overcharge, but you have to, sacrifice your hit points and mana for that. But I mean, overall, they are similar heroes in some ways.
I wonder which direction TnC will go here. As far as mid goes, Tinker has been something that's been a popular pick for Cuckoo. It will also be kind of something that would fit Liquid's lineup a little bit with that global presence. So I wonder if that's a direction that they
Tinker
potentially
is
go.
like a good hero for their playstyle, but Io and Beastmaster are both heroes that are really good against the Tinker. They have chosen to remove out the OD. OD is, I would say, much better against their lineup with the burst against the Io, and you have the save against the Raw.
10 seconds remaining.
I wouldn't mind playing against Tinker if I have Beastmaster and Io. I think these two heroes would be able to do really well against him, because you already have that catch. The games where we saw Cuckoo run rampant on his Tinker was when the enemy team did not have any catch against his Tinker.
There's a Necrophos ban. I just want to put it out there because we haven't seen that hero at all the entire tournament.
Didn't Liquid play like Io Necrophos in like
We've
I remember
seen
like
a
there was an
mid
event
Necro.
that they played it. I can't remember which one.
Recently in qualifiers, they ran a mid Necrophos, I believe, as well. So, or no, a safe lane Necrophos. I think.
Yeah, I think Matumba Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Matumba Man played the
10
hero.
seconds
So
remaining.
basically, you have that double, triple heal, like so much heal with the Io.
Oh, Liquid, what are you doing here? I mean, it's good to be able to hide information from the other team, but it's also good to have a team that does things.
Is
They
this a mid
haven't-
Juggernaut, you think, or is this a
Not
carry?
sure.
I feel like
Very,
they still
very
have a Luna,
open.
which is another like pretty frequent option for them.
Yeah, very
Or even-
open-ended. The Juggernaut.
5 seconds
Same goes for the
remaining.
Rubik. Doesn't say anything. It's very solid. Good in the lane.
Reserve time.
Healing, good team fight. Healing ward, Omni Slash, and whatnot. It's mainly, I think, the focus here is for TnC they are picking just like really good lanes once more. They don't want to have an issue in the laning phase, and they want to be able to kill you and punish you in the lane. And the Juggernaut still gives them options of having different lanes because you can go mid or carry.
All right, very standard draft coming out for what we've seen in this entire tournament.
So far Sam H has mostly played Slada or Sand King.
Right.
Those are the two heroes I see him play a lot recently. He's been just on that team fight hero. They don't put him on like a greedier farming like what we saw from ROTK, the Doom or the Magnus, more farming orientated course. He's more of like the team fight control.
Yeah, think the Darkseer when Earthspirit is there. That is like the ultimate Sam H hero for me.
I mean, Sand King is really good against the relocate. When you see the relocate coming in, you can get ready with your epicenter. So you've got that going for you.
Yeah, he is a great defensive hero for team fights, but he's also very aggressive, which is what we like to see.
Yeah,
Sam H on
Sand
as
King
well.
plus Ogre could be a huge problem for their lanes, because if you look at Liquid's lineup right now, Io plus Rubik, not the greatest duo. You don't do so much damage in between both of you. So, and you would kind of expect GH on Io to like run around, help mid, help bottom. So if Rubik plus 1, there's a huge chance that the Ogre plus Sand King can, just break the lane apart.
Absolutely. I mean, that is a huge amount of damage coming out on that lane from those two supports. So the pick going to be coming out here from Team Liquid. Probably our first insight into their game plan here. You expecting any like standard IO combos? Maybe a Tiny, maybe an
I
Ursa?
could see a Legion Commander or something like that. We've seen that used against a Juggernaut. A good natural partner for the IO as well.
Ooh, wow. Oh my god, Liquid, the squish is real. And if they get initiated on any one of these heroes, they're just going to get blowed up, boys.
I mean, but they have a very clear plan around the Terrorblade. They have the Io. Every time when you pick Terrorblade, you want to have like someone to be able to save you, so you get your Sunder off. They have a good synergy with the Beastmaster and Terrorblade. But the one thing that I'm really worried is the lane, though. The lane of Liquid right now is extremely weak. Like Rubik, Terrorblade is... I don't know,
get run over, man.
The Ogre and Sand King duo can just destroy that lane. Even if the Io decides to go up, I can still see the Ogre and Sand King winning that lane against 3 heroes. That's how dangerous the lane is.
Wow. Okay. Team Liquid going with
Just, a strong hero like Ember, can't really say too much about that hero. He's very good in the patch, does a lot for your team.
That's where the
But
flexibility.
the matchup is not good though, like the Ember against the Juggernaut.
Right, that's where the flexibility potentially comes in for that early Juggernaut pick, right? Because you can kind of wait for that later core pick to see if you want to run him mid.
Yeah, I can see TnC actually running over all the lanes. If they do Juggernaut against Ember mid, they do Ogre Sand King top, Venge plus 1 bottom, like maybe, what's left? Weaver, right? Weaver? Oh, Medusa.
Medusa, can someone please talk to me here? I mean, I thought they were having a push lane. I thought they were going in hard and destroying. That's a late game
Medusa
hero.
gives them much more late game, and at the same time, he's really good against the illusions. He can clear out the illusions.
Okay, but why go late game? I mean, they had so much pressure. They could have just gone for that early win. Any reason why?
They don't want to go so all in on the early game, which in the previous series, some of the games were a bit shaky because of that. They were under pressure because they didn't have much late game, so going for much more late game to secure it.
Sure. You can pick one team. Who's it going to be? TnC, Liquid. Go.
I like TnC a lot before the Medusa pick. I thought that they had a lot of that pressure. I thought they were going to steamroll.
One team. Jake.
Okay, Liquid, go.
All right.
TnC has good lanes.
One TnC.
I like that last pick, but I'm going to have to go with Liquid.
Everybody wants to try and hide, cover up in case they're wrong, but we are going to find out who's going to take the first game of our first semifinals. It is over to Lyrical and Merlini.
Thank you very much, Shiva and the panel. Hello and welcome everybody out there in the wide, wonderful world. We're here for Dota 2 Finals Day, Star Ladder I-League StarSeries Season 3. Merlini.
A lot of alliteration in one sentence.
Thank you.
Or consonants. It's technically consonants.
It's a good thing no matter what it is because it sounds beautiful. And most importantly, we're here to watch some Dota. Merlini, how you feeling?
You sound so beautiful.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. But Liquid versus TnC, pretty good teams here. They've made it all the way through 3 days of group stages. We got a Medusa last pick. Do you like the hero in this meta?
I like it versus Terrorblade. She has a lot of armor, she's very tanky, and she can kill the illusions and stand there. There's very few heroes that can stand 2 Conjure Images and Manta Illusions with a meta TB beating on you. It's actually very rare that you can actually see that. Normally you get Ghost Scepters, or you run away, or you try and stun lock them. GH
Oh, just barely able to walk away from that one. That could have been a pretty disastrous start to this game, but they're able to get out of the.
It's very hard for them to kill the Wisp in that situation, though, because they only have 2 short-range stuns. Or, I guess 3 if you want to skill it on the Ogre. But that will be 3 runes for TnC.
Definitely a good way to start the
where
game
are
off.
GH and Kuro going? They are.
The battle begins.
Did they fake? They fake place a ward.
Okay. They're not seeing that right now on the screen, but it was over towards the Radiant Ancients up on the cliff
where
next to
Cuckoo
mid.
is right now. Cuckoo's getting harassed. Yeah, so that he's going to miss his block.
Well, over there to the side by the Ancients, but we're going to see Miracle for a second just blocking it out, and there we go.
So they fake placed a ward. They like ran up there and turned around. That's kind of what the movement is for an observer ward placement, especially if you shift Q. So I saw TnC pinging out, so I don't know if they're actually going to spend a sentry ward, but perhaps not.
Well, maybe a little bit of those plays, the fake getting into somebody else's heads is a good way to start a series, certainly, in what I think could be relatively even. You know, that you saw the bets there on the screen earlier. It felt like it was very one-sided into the favor of Liquid, but we've seen TnC be really strong throughout these group stages, and now here in the playoffs, got a good chance to make it work as they're trying to chase down Tims. Doesn't look like they're quite going to be able to get into range for the lift, though.
There's always a Western bias to those a little bit, just because we have a Western audience.
Oh,
more comfortable with
Medusa
what you-
in some trouble. Got the mana shield there, Fairy Fire as well. Oh, those are so value on Medusa.
Is true. Mango's even more value.
Yeah,
5 mangoes even.
that's
By
the
the legendary EE. That's the strat. Well, not so much of a big deal because both heroes in the mid will just shrine up.
nothing really lost too much there. With the Ogre coming in now, maybe this makes the lane a little bit easier for Cuckoo. I mean, Ember versus Medusa feels like, particularly those early levels, it might be tough for Medusa to not be harassed out of lane.
Once she gets level 2, Snake will be fine. Snake just does ridiculous amounts of damage. And Ember, you'll see some go no talisman very early on, even before the Aquila, because you actually struggle with some mana issues.
Oh, another little pullback there onto Sam H. Yeah, this is maybe a little bit of a scary supporting duo. The panel was talking about them not being able to do too much, but if you just right-click fools, it's a bit tough to deal with.
Well, it's easy in a 3-on-1 situation. I'm pretty sure any 2 heroes can zone out one. He is waiting.
Yeah, hanging on to that regen. It does look like he's going to pull back over and wait for Wisp to fill it up. So that's going to be a regen used, and Miracle back up to full HP.
TnC are doing a better job of controlling the bounty runes, though. Venge did sweep by at that bottom bounty rune on the Dire side.
Oh, Dyer's Courier goes down as well.
I did not actually see where that was.
Well, so far, a little bit of a tough one. And Miracle actually even able to push back Tims here. The Snake is going to go out. Miracle diving for this one. Wants the kill bad. Is going to get it. Taking a good bit of harassment on his way out. But does look like he's going to try and turn now with GH there. You got to be careful if you're Cuckoo.
Got to respect the Wisp. Wisp just makes everyone like twice as strong once you're tethered. I don't know if twice is actually the right comparison, but especially with the regeneration rune, he can go in so deep.
That was something that we saw yesterday, I believe, in the DC game, if I'm not mistaken. It was the Bat Rider together.
Wisp.
Such a strong combination. Seeing sort of a similar thing here as well with Miracle being able to go pretty pressured.
Yeah.
How do you feel like these lanes are sort of going to work out? We already see that the Terrorblade is basically top of the net worth, with Medusa still above the Ember Spirit a little bit.
I mean, it's pretty much going how I would expect. I guess Medusa's getting like under a lot of pressure in the mid lane though, but she hasn't died yet, so that's pretty good, and she's still getting decent amounts of CS. But Ember looks like he is going to be an issue quite soon.
Yeah. And Sam H still able to pick up a lot of CS for himself. Like Mind Control here, 8-3, got a good bit of experience, but the Sand King is still getting a lot as well. So this is, I would imagine, feeling pretty good right now if you're TnC. But they did draft strong lanes as well.
The Wisp is also getting a lot too. He's kind of free to run wherever he wants, and they don't actually have a good way to jump on the Wisp. Like maybe you can swap him into the fight, but like that's not that great. Normally you'll see, Storm Spirit, Ember Spirit, like any of these heroes that can just get on top of him and kill him before he can actually tether away, but they don't really have anything like that. Their lineup is far more based around buffing up the Medusa with the Vengeful Aura and the Ogre, Magi Bloodlust, and just playing around the Medusa, making sure she survives as opposed to
assassinating the Team Liquid lineup. Well, and so we did see the Venge over there on the bottom lane, sort of setting up for a wraparound onto the Beastmaster. But thinking about the Juggernaut and his role in this, sometimes a hero that will get a little bit aggressive, do you think that he could rotate to another lane and find a kill potentially, or is that a little bit too hard in this game?
Early. Usually you'll see when they get 6 plus Aquila, so they can actually turn into a tower push, but he doesn't have any of those right now. Mind Control does have a TP scroll in case he gets stunned, so I don't really think he's that scared at all. And the Shrine is still up, so I don't even think he had TV back. But Beastmaster's getting a lot, almost level 5 right now.
Oh, Medusa again getting gone on in the mid lane. TP coming in. Does look like it might dissuade Miracle from going any further. A couple right clicks and, well, triple Remnant. Man, getting very aggro. Takes down Rior. He was not expecting that.
Yeah, Ember is going to be an issue because Medusa generally needs, I would say at minimum 10 minutes before you can do stuff. Like Phase Lance, I would say, is usually what you go for early. Phase Lance into Aquila. And like Ember Spirit, he's already online. And once he gets like level 4 Searing Chains, level 4 Flame Guard, he's going to be even more of an issue for these supports that have kind of just been running around babysitting the lanes. They're not actually that strong on their own. Again, this lineup is based far more around the Dusa than the supports being able to rotate and gank.
Well, we'll have to see if possibly TnC can start to try and pressure him a little bit more heavily. It feels like it's almost in a way pretty tough to even do that. Like, do you think that with this smoke gank they're going to be able to find something? Is that just looking straight for the Ember no matter what?
They might kill the Wisp, but Wisp actually popped the smoke, and they have no idea where they are.
Yeah, just a little bit unlucky there. They get a ward at least.
They can't pressure mid so much because Ember, like, how do you actually kill an Ember? If he has a Remnant up and mana, he will just Remnant away, no problem. But a bottom lane going into a tower kill after killing the Beastmaster is certainly ideal. Mind Control is a hero that you want to limit in this game a lot.
Oh my god, ulti used in the mid lane, and is going to be able to stun them up for the moment. Burrow Strike also going to connect now onto Kuroki. He's taking a good bit of damage and does look like he's going to fall there. Miracle in the meantime being slowed, but decides to turn, able to take down one. Killing spree for this Ember at this early stage in the game.
Wisp had a DD if you didn't notice. It's really hard to actually see that he has DD unless you're paying attention, but maybe underestimating that a little bit. And of course, Ember, he just seems like he has infinite mana despite the Mystic Snake being a huge issue. Cuckoo getting died in mid again.
They are not stopping. No rest for the Wicked. Miracle is just controlling him in this mid lane.
This is even more problematic because the supports are actually sitting in the mid lane as well, like right before that, and they're still losing the lane. They had 3 heroes there, and still they lose a couple of heroes to the Ember Spirit. So, like, what do you actually do as a support now? Do you, like, stack and leave and ditch your mid? Do you sit in mid and let Dusa farm the jungle? Like, there's not that many great options for them right now to deal with the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, and normally you would have some of those defensive heroes there to be able to possibly stop it. You think something like a Dazzle maybe to be able to keep her alive, but
I think they maybe swap the Jug and the Medusa. I think they park the Medusa in the bottom lane would be a lot better. Just because, like, you just want to sit there and farm as a Medusa. And normally your laning strength from the level 4 Mystic Snake is going to be really good, but because they have better rune control and because they have a Wisp, it's not really giving the lane presence that they need. And with a Juggernaut in mid, Juggernaut, you just spin away if you're in a lot of trouble and you don't actually need the support so they can do other stuff besides worry about your mid constantly dying.
Well, speaking of Jug, it does look like Raven is going to TP away. That's pretty good timing considering they were all set up to try and dive him there along the bottom lane, but it looks like their thoughts have turned now onto Matumba Man in the top lane, but you can see him hiding already pretty far away from the rest
Normally
of them.
He'd be doing
just
that
TPing out. He knows what he's doing.
That's really smart. Yeah, as soon as a Jug...
it looks like that ward there.
Oh yeah, they did have that ward. But still, I mean, it's a good thing you just straight towers. He does have Metamorphosis up, already starting the illusions, and with the Inner Beast on the Beastmaster, they should be able to trade, I would say, a little bit faster even than the Radiant side.
God, and you see Miracle again. They know that the Juggernaut TP'd, so he's not going to be able to come in and punish this. Miracle just diving Cuckoo behind the Tier 1 tower, and no fear at all. Pops the Invis and just going to back out again as the Tier 1 tower drops bottom. They force the rotation to mid, and they're not going to be able to find anything. They actually get a kill onto Rior. Liquid just all over him at this point.
Mid is not the place to be if you're TnC. That is the... If you TP there, you're just going to die. And they're going to lose the tower, I believe, soon. They have TP'd in the Medusa because she is quite tanky, but I mean, still, there is just no real threat for Miracle right now. He didn't even have a safety Remnant. He wanted his triple Remnant just in case he wanted to kill the Medusa. Yeah, just completely dominant performance here. They are going to use the Roar down here on the bottom and trying to turn it around so that way Matumba Man does not drop. They relocate in, going to jump forward. Ember, just a monster at this stage of the game. They take down 2, double kill for Miracle, and in not really a ton of fear of going down. Thinks about even turning back onto them, but all right, there's the relocate out. Yeah, that was only 4 heroes. Rubik wasn't even there. So Power of the Wisp is often banned. It's like, oh yeah, we can defend this T2. Meta's almost down. And then you get destroyed. It seems like it's just such a good answer, too, against what TnC constantly do, picking those strong lanes, and Wisp just demolishes them. I mean, granted, the last pick, Medusa, weakens that lane a little bit more so than it would have if it was a normal or mid hero, but still, it's a tough one. They still have the mid-game fight to back it up. That's one thing always about TnC's draft is that they have a really strong mid-game team fight in case that the lanes do go poorly. I definitely don't think they expected to go this poorly, but GH has continued to impress on the support, and his Wisp is no exception. So, oh my God, Miracle going in again. He has the Wisp there to back him up. Just so much with this double damage and forces 4 heroes into the mid lane and just backs out again.
This Wisp is also very farmed. Look at Wisp net worth relative to Medusa. 3,300 versus 3,800. That's crazy. He has Arcane and Urn already.
They roared the Kerr here. A little bit of a kerfuffle there. Mind control, wanting to go for the style play, but we'll be punished for it. Nice, nice. The Courier's just going to fly away from that one. So, well, you get one of those a game, I think, and it's going to be okay.
I think Matumba Man's also doing the no Lance build, inspired perhaps yesterday by Aggressive. It's not something that's very common. Lance is just seen as core, like imperative on heroes like Medusa, Drow Ranger, Terrorblade, Sniper, but we're starting to see a trend where maybe it's not worth it.
Oh God, Tim's yet again just going to go for the quick TP, but the Remnant, that's a double to find the kill, and well, Kuroki also stole Bloodlust. So if you thought Miracle was scary before, even more so now. Oh, what to your eyes is sort of the main, well, we might need to hold on to that thought, as it looks like they're going to try and chase. Swap back in, pulling in Kuro, and yeah, he is going to end up dropping there, but they take one in return, so Rubik goes down, as does the Venge.
They're able to throw out so much pressure in the fights, though. Like, the Medusa doesn't really have a good time to stone gauge. She didn't use it in the bottom T2 engagement. She didn't use it in the mid T1 just because they're just trying to bait it out. And it's their strongest team fight ultimate, I think. Even stronger than Epicenter. And everyone just forced to run away from this Ember Spirit. Oh,
nice little play there by Raven, seeing the opportunity and ends up capitalizing on it, and now going to get chased down a little bit further. Remnant able to dodge it for the moment. Raven on very low HP, 10 in fact, and Miracle just can't quite run him down. He could go for the deny for Roche. Actually, he's going to fake it and head off towards the north. So it looks like Miracle is going to back out in a way. Raven, really well played, and now they're controlling up that Ember Spirit. If they can bring him down, it would be so huge. He gets the chains, walks away. Everybody on low HP here, but they're not going to end up falling as, Miracle jumps back in. He takes down Rior. The relocate in, that's going to heal up Miracle a little bit further, and now the chase for Sam H wants to find him. Urn keeping him alive. He gets the chains. He gets the kill. Double for Miracle. Godlike is an understatement.
That was some impressive individual play from Raven, though. That was such a slim opportunity for him to go for the kill on the Wisp. They were just separated enough so that it wouldn't bounce either to the creeps behind the Wisp or in front to the Ember Spirit. And he managed to get away that entire time. Like, he made a lot happen from nothing, and they almost got that prize kill on that Ember Spirit as a result.
Yeah, definitely. Raven, the presence of mind to turn back after the round forward and drop the Omni Slash onto the IO. Just really high-level thinking there. And, I mean, it still is this problem where you're 9-0-2 on an Ember Spirit at just under 14 minutes. They have to make something happen, but they smoke right under a ward and a Hawk.
Wow, Ember is actually going for a very unusual build, a Lincoln's first build. Veil is also traditionally seen as pretty mandatory for an Ember Spirit, but
well, this would be a really big kill for them. They find Matumba Man, good bit of damage coming in, and they are going to take down that one. Now looking for more GH, able to tether to some creeps, but Raven has a haster, and so he's going to try and chase this, and it does look like he's at least going to be able to find him. The chase should
result in a kill as GH goes down. So a killing spree for Raven, much needed for TnC.
This is TnC's greatest strength. Their ability to team fight and take fights where an opponent don't really want to at this point in the game, especially when behind. You know, it's easy to take fights when you're ahead, but being able to come back and take a couple of key kills, especially one on the Terrorblade, is how you get back in the game.
Yeah,
So Lincoln's first on Ember, though. He went Treads. He's going Treads Lincoln. This is a very tanky build. So he just wants to be the frontliner so that I guess Terrorblade can actually do the damage in the backline. This Treads Lincoln's build doesn't really give you much damage at all, though.
Yeah, it's sort of almost reminiscent of like the Shadow Faceless Void build almost, where he would go for that really on early with the Lincoln Sphere.
Yeah, he's just setting it for his team.
No. But we'll see if it ends up working out for him. Of course, BKB's eventually coming online for TnC, who could mitigate some of that.
I don't think they would get BKBs.
Yeah.
It's just... It is strange. It gives him a lot of HP. If he's in Strength Treads plus Lincoln's, that's what, like 20th Strength?
Oh, good swap out. Steals the swap and pulls it back in. Nice little style play there. The Omni Slash comes out. Not nearly enough damage, but a good Burrow Strike. And the Epicenter is going to bring down Liquid. 3 dead, and that was the high priority kill onto Ember they needed.
Rubik has been dying a lot in these fights. Crow's making some flashy plays, but he got swapped on top as they were retreating. He's getting destroyed on the bottom lane, and they do need him to pick up some items at some point. Look at his net worth. It's very, very low, and I think a Rubik with low net worth is way worse than a Venge with low net worth. You know, if you die with Venge, not that big a deal. You still provide the aura, and you can trade your life for someone more important. If you're lowest net worth, everyone's probably a little bit more important than you, but Rubik is a hero that you want to stay alive. You want to be able to steal things like Burrow Strike, Stone Gaze, Omni Slash. These are all pretty important spells. Even Bloodlust going to the later game is going to be quite important.
And the thing that's really impressive to me about this game from TnC is normally this is a team that excels at winning the laning stages and then will sometimes fall behind in the mid game. But here, they kind of lost the laning stage and have been able to fight their way back into it. So showing a little bit of versatility in their play styles.
Their lineups are typically geared around that, though. So, yeah, it's not quite typical for them. So Ember has his Lincoln's complete, going for the Blink afterwards. He has gone for the Spell Amp, so nothing unusual in his talent build as of yet.
There's the Lincolns that ends up hopping on Miracle. But a Manta style for the Medusa. Is that at all a surprise for you going forward early on here?
Manta, it's... Medusa builds are strange. People just hate on a lot of different Medusa builds. Manta is really good on Medusa. You get the split shot on the illusions. That's really good. You get stats. Very good because you kind of double dip into survivability with the strength and the intelligence. But I think more importantly, you also can get out a lot of stuff. You can prevent a roar by Manta splitting. You can get out of the Searing Chains with Manta split, and you can also prevent a lot of the damage from Terrorblade.
Oh, really good play there. They relocate out the Ember, though, and it was well set up because now the rest of Liquid is coming in from the south. They've stunned up. The Medusa does manage to get the ulti off the Epicenter out as well, connecting onto several, and it looks like they're not all dropping super low. They get the relocate back and away by the IO, so going to be fine for the moment. The only one dead so far is the Vengeful Spirit. Looks like Sam H is going to be run down by Miracle. That's a double for him and Remnant to chase, but can't quite get the change. Kuroki is still chasing down Tims, but it looks like he should be okay for the moment as Raven gets a lucky Invisor in there and still taking the damage from Io. Oh, another one. Can he quite find it? Raven just wants to stay pretty close at this point. He finds it! He ends up getting a resummoning to the Spirits.
Oh my god, that was...
GH.
Okay, that was ridiculously good Wisp play. First, his relocate out. He got it on the Ember Spirit. He shifted him maybe 1,000 range away, but it was to the rest of his team, so they were able to immediately engage. After that, he actually relocated the Terrorblade out while he was stun locked about another 1,000 range, and then of course that Wisp Spirit play where he just killed an invisible hero. I mean,
there's nothing else to say. GH,
what just happened?
God. Oh wow.
Damn, his Wisp is so scary. That's actually quite incredible. You don't see too many individual plays. Usually it's just like, okay, one relocate save is generally like, wow. But relocate back and forth on the return.
And the kill on the Juggernaut.
That was very impressive.
Top 10 Wisp. in a really long time. But anyways, we got to go 9-14. It feels like both teams have just been sort of battling it out at this stage. Do you feel like Roshan is going to need to be on the menu for one of these teams pretty soon here?
I mean, TnC, their lineup is based around winning team fights, and if they can't win team fights, there's not really any point of thinking about other objectives, and they still have to. They're gonna have to fight head on. You can't split push versus a Wisp often too. Like Beastmaster will just roar you, someone will relocate and you just get destroyed, even if you're a tanky hero like Medusa or a hero with magic immunity like Juggernaut. So split pushing is not an option. They can't 5-man push into Liquid because they're just not strong enough right now. They can't do Roche because Liquid has better positioning on the map. So they have to be able to kind of contest Liquid's advances onto their side of the map so they can farm up a little bit more. And right now they can't really like that mid T1 is still up, the bottom T1 is still up, and they haven't really been able to venture past the river. Once you win team fights, you can get past the river. So how do you actually win team fights? You need to kill the Wisp at the start of the fight. You need to be able to kill the Ember Spirit, but Ember Spirit actually probably not the best target for them to kill because of all the survivability items. They tried to go on the Wisp too. He epicentered him after the relocate last fight. Yeah, but he's still not dying. He's way too farmed on the network, but the problem is he still needs to die, even though he is very tanky. So he's like Arcanes, he has Mech, he has Urn, so it's like a 1500 HP Wisp who has relocate out, he has Tether to move away, and he has the backup of his team.
Well, and you can see up there they're trying to bait out a reaction from Liquid to go to the top lane to defend the tier 2 so they can epicenter him, but Liquid just say, we're going to take your mid tier 2, and if you don't do something, we're ready to push down towards bottom as well. This is a really, really scary point in time right now for TnC.
Too. They actually forego the mid lane and go bottom lane where there's no creeps. I think this is to prevent like multiple angles of entry from TnC, but that's something that's very unusual too, unless you have like low HP on the tower. So it looks like their preferred lane of choice to push is actually bottom lane.
Yeah. And you can see right there as well, Miracle, you talked about just being able to stay up on the high ground. They can't really initiate on him to effectively. Blinks in, finds the chains. If he gets his Lincoln pops, he just jumps back out to the Remnant. Really cool play by Miracle.
That was just an overall very cool play by Liquid in general, too. Like the way they approached that siege. I don't really know how things would have turned out, had they pushed the mid lane, or maybe like the choke point is a little bit wider on the bottom lane, so it's easier for Terrorblade to spread out a little bit. Like the supports can actually hide much better in the fog on the bottom lane as well, on that south side. And they also had vision on the high ground behind that mid push too. So the positioning, I think, would have been really, really important for them.
Uh-oh. Medusa in the river is just going to take a bit of a beating there. Going back now for the Lincolns, you talked about it earlier, the Medusa's builds tend to be a little bit strange in general, as the Force Staff actually is going to push Medusa in again. Sam H has already used the Burrow Strike. Lincoln's now popped for Miracle, but he's continuing to just harass this TnC lineup.
They know they can't kill him. Like, he can just kind of press as far as he wants to. And the thing is, like, at one of these points, like, he's going to hit a Searing Chains and everyone's just going to sweep on those targets. And they constantly have to live in fear of that. Not only, like, Beastmaster coming in with his Roar, with his Necro, but also, like, a TB relocated on the backline with a Conjure Image and 2 Manta Illusions, and everyone's just going to die. So, yeah, the Medusa's not going to do anything in these fights. She still doesn't have enough damage.
It's really tough right now, and I'm feeling like Liquid, they're incredibly happy, obviously, with the way that this game has gone, but now it's sort of, where do you go with that next point? Like, do they need to try and start pressuring down the top tier 2, or is it okay just to finish off all the shrines, which allows them easier access to Roshan? How do you see their game working out over the next several minutes here?
Just play it by ear, see how TnC plays. They try to split push the T2 on top, so if they push the T2 on top, you can either defend or you can pressure way harder than they can. And I think they generally just always have the one-up in terms of push potential. Bloodlust is very mediocre compared to Inner Beast and a Terrorblade Metamorphosis. Ember, one of the worst tower hitters, but Terrorblade, one of the best. And I think like Liquid can easily win out on that aspect. So what else can TnC do besides try and split push them? As they split push as 3 too. You say split push is 1 and 2, you're going to die to Beastmaster plus relocate. So if they had split push as more than 1, and then you can farm up your side of the jungle, but Liquid have kind of been all up in that area. Maybe the best choice for them is to actually get a gem fairly soon and deal with the Hawk as well as the Observer Wards that surely should be haunting their side of the map. Oh, Miracle, this could be a... Nope, he's just gone. Immediately gone. They can't deal with him. He's containing them inside their base. Like, they can't smoke out because there is an Ember Spirit. And they don't have good lockdown for him. Their only instant stun is Sand King. And he has Lincolns, so it doesn't even matter really. And now they're going to take the fight to the side of TnC. Cuckoo is on the low ground. They're moving in. Sam H, is he going to get Burrow Struck? And not able to use it because of that root. He drops so quickly, and Cuckoo going to be swapped out. Rior just trying to make sure he doesn't get there, but they're going to relocate in. Miracle looking for some more kills. He is going to be stunned for the moment, and they're still going to be able to run down that Venge. Miracle continuing the chase now for Raven. But it has just gone from bad to worse. This game for TnC.
Medusa is not the pace to deal with this Liquid lineup. Like, it just completely got destroyed in the laning phase, and even that fight, Stone Gaze, run away. Like, you don't even get any damage because she had no mana. And the Beastmaster is also very, very farmed, so the Necro Book actually does a lot of damage versus the Medusa, who typically is seen as one of the most tanky heroes in the game.
Well, and you can see here again, they just throw out the chains. Miracle able to jump away as soon as that Lincoln's procs. And guess what? Matumba Man just took the melee barracks and going to do a good bit of damage onto the ranged as well. And they can just back out. There's nothing to stop them right now from TnC's lineup that can do anything to this Liquid team group. It's
Liquid's
really
very
rough.
patient. They don't fight without meta. And it's... Sometimes you just get impatient. You're like, okay, I have to Aegis have like, you know, a minute left on it. A meta's not going to be up, but they're very patient. They wait for the exact moment that they want to smoke in, swoop in, get a couple of kills. They have meta up, continue to get a Rax. The range Rax is pretty juicy. It's pretty easy for them to take down, but too risky. No meta, let's just back out.
And, I mean, we haven't had to have huge plays coming in from the rest of Liquid because you've still got GH and Miracle just making all the space in the world for him. And an Invis Miracle walking up to the high ground is going to spot out Raven here. There's a good chance that they can just find him. Sam H does have Burrow Strike. They throw out a Remnant. Lincoln's popped, and he's away.
Yeah, Semi trying to pop it with a Force Staff to actually secure some lockdown on him.
Does feel like this has just been the perfect answer. The Lincoln Sphere, not something, as you said, that you normally see on Ember Spirit as the first item, but considering he got off to such a huge start, didn't need the added magical damage.
All he needs to do is prevent that first stun. Else you can just outplay it with Slight, with Blink, with Remnants. And they are getting some damage on the side of TnC. They do have a Juggernaut who is quite farmed. Maelstrom going to be pretty good at perhaps dealing with those Terrible illusions. But Terrorblade's fat. He has Scotty completed. They're going to have Roche very, very soon. And I would assume that they would try and end the game with the next Aegis and Metamorphosis timing, which is like Terrorblade is incredible. I guess you could wait for Butterfly too. That's also a pretty good power spike because Medusa does not have the farm to get an MKB at this exact moment, or probably when Matumba Man has Butterfly.
I guess that's something to talk about a little bit, is that Medusa, you mentioned at the very start of the game, a great hero at dealing with Terrorblade if they can get to equal farm. So if we do see Liquid maybe overextend, you find a couple kills there, how many fights would it take for TnC to sort of be on parity with them?
I think just one big wipe would be enough. One, like 5-0, it would put them close enough where Medusa can actually stand in the fights.
Well, we're walking up here now. Might need to pop the Stone Gaze potentially. It's a hell of a lot of damage onto this tier 3 in the top lane, and Cuckoo spots out that swap. They're going to swap him back in. This is a good way to start it. Stun locked for the moment. They still have that stone form dropping really low with the relocate back. GH going to keep him up and alive. They also use the Sunder to be able to bring down the Rubik low and keep that Terrorblade very healthy. So they force the buyback on the Ogre, and Liquid are just going to continue. Raven's not even there.
Matumba Man just picked up the Talisman of Evasion, and he had about 28% HP left. So,
oh god, Cuckoo taking so much damage here. They're already on top of him. A good Burrow Strike. Epicenter isn't going to be enough. Matumba Man solo, no Sunder, and trying to walk away. He's almost dead. It does look like he's going to be able to walk away, though.
Wow, that he spent his gold right before the fight. Usually you'll pick up the agility first, but that little bit of extra gold. Medusa's actually very tough to break high ground against because killing her on a shrine is probably one of the most difficult heroes to kill on a shrine. She already has like effectively how much HP? 4,000-ish maybe, and then you're doubling that with the shrine.
Normally you're just getting the HP back, but she still can't survive.
And I mean, Liquid just playing this on a knife's edge right now consistently between the Ember Spirit barely staying alive, the Terrorblade as well. It's feeling like right now at least TnC just don't have that extra bit of damage. I mean, if you're thinking about the next items for the Medusa here, sometimes I believe that we've seen like Maelstrom in the past, but Scotty I feel like is that tried and true tested method. What are your thoughts?
Probably MKB.
Okay.
Just because I think she actually needs to do damage. If they had a little bit more damage right now, perhaps if she had a different build other than the Lincoln's Manta, maybe the Terrorblade would have died there before the relocate came out in the Sunder. And then they would have been able to continue to snowball and kill 3 or 4 more heroes. So it was actually quite close, their setup to kill the Terrorblade. That was a great swap by Rior. Well, it looks like with Aegis now in hand, TnC, they're going to need something big to be able to pull this back. It is such a tough hold. I mean, they were able to hold on to their barracks in the last little initiation that came out, but whether that's going to happen again, it's kind of suspect. They needed buybacks for it as well, which they're not going to have now. And they have the Aegis on Liquid this time, so the plan of killing the Terrorblade is not going to work out. You might get rid of his meta with the first life, but that's hardly going to win you the fight.
Well, Butterfly not quite there at the very least, and the Hawk is going to be wrapping around as well, so they'll have good vision on everything that's coming through. But Cuckoo still standing tall there. Looks like they're going for the wraparound and need to be careful for the counter initiation play that could come out. They're all grouped up together. The epicenter, it's not going to come out as of yet. Sam H going to be lifted and pulled back in. Rior dropping so low, and there's a double kill from a Man. Miracle as well, just all over him. Cuckoo is already gone. It looks like Raven also maybe going to be able to bring him down. He's starting to get the right clicks off of Mind Control. Is going to be able to survive through that. They are going to also find Cuckoo. Triple kill from a Man. They don't have buybacks on 4. This could potentially be it. Yeah, GG just comes out.
They tried. Sam H, I think, played particularly well on the same team, too. He had some really good epicenters that almost won them a lot of team fights, which is very difficult when you're 10, 15,000 net worth behind. Also, he has to deal with the root on the Ember Spirit and the Lincoln Sphere, so like there's not – he's going to get controlled much more than he would in a normal game. So overall, the Wisp – you know, I heard like, wow, they gave him the Wisp at the start when it was the first pick, and for good reason. And GH, like, no, you know, we've seen a lot of Liquid Wisp players in the past, but this one, perhaps one of the best that we've seen.
It's a really impressive display from everybody on the side of Team Liquid, and definitely, I'm thinking, you know, you ban out that Wisp in the first phase next time. It's terrifying stuff indeed. Anything else that really stands out to you? Did you like the TnC draft at the very least? Do you feel like it worked?
Their lineup wasn't actually that good about dealing with the Wisp, though, because their lineup was centered around the Medusa being stronger than a Terrorblade with the buffs.
Right.
So it was a little bit of a different draft that we've seen from TnC. Usually they have a much more self-sufficient mid, like, you know, Invoker or Tinker or something like that, something that, you know, can do a lot of damage without actually basing an entire team around it. And as a result, it kind of suffered in that early game when there were 3 heroes mid constantly, and they just all died to Ember Spirit, and he was godlike at, what, 11 minutes?
Yeah, 9-0-2 that early on. It's just, there's no coming back for that, it almost feels like. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but we'll be back in just a little bit with game number 2, Liquid facing off against TnC. See you guys then.
Gaming bets, online